All right, we're live on YouTube. I'll just send you the link now in case you want to also just share, and I'll put it on the Slack groups as well. Okay. Fantastic. So, hello everyone. So for those of you joining now, so my name is Gregory Pepper. I'm from the Secretariat at Unleash, and I've had the great pleasure and honor of working alongside many amazing people to set up this Unleash COVID-19 hack. I see some smiles. So yeah, it's been quite an adventure over the last few days just to get all this coordination done. But really, I think it's some great results are happening now. So I will just walk you through some information about why we're doing what we're doing and how it's been organized, and then we'll pass over to the organizing team and the facilitators who will present themselves, and then pass over to the teams for them to present how far they've gone today with framing challenges around COVID-19 and starting to generate some ideas and solutions for them. I'm just sharing my screen. All right. Can we see my screen?
Yep.
Okay, great. Yes, so the Unleash Global COVID-19 Hack, as you probably know, is a hackathon that's happening all around the world with the Unleash community to address some of the challenges that are indirectly or directly caused by the global pandemic that's currently taking place. And so this two-day online event is working with people from all around the world in finding how to come up with some solutions to address these and support communities, societies, and in general economies to get better from what's currently happening globally. In terms of the hacks, we've got 6 hacks happening in parallel, and of course at different time zones, and therefore these calls with the presentations are happening at different times. And so this current call is for GMT. It's the 4th presentations of the day, and we'll still have 2 more from the Americas tonight, GMT -4 and GMT -6. In terms of just some numbers, so we've had over 240 participants and from 73 countries in this hack, over 100 experts and facilitators who've joined, facilitators who have an important role of really working alongside the teams throughout the hack to frame their challenges in the right way, to be the sounding board and the support to make sure the teams can move ahead in the right direction with strong foundations, and then come up with ideas that would really actually work. And in terms of experts, we've had people coming in to give key expertise and also provide more inputs and technical resources to ensure that the teams are developing ideas and also framing challenges in the best possible way. Just want to mention that we have graciously had Miro, which is a collaboration board, an online collaboration board, provide 300 free licenses to be able to run this hack. And so I think many teams have been able to use these and benefit quite a lot from the system. And so this is also just a time to say thank you to them for that. In terms of the organization, so I mentioned there's organizing teams in each time zone, and we'll briefly in a few seconds hear from Rahim. And each of these organizing teams has been working on setting up the hack, controlling the overall process of it, forming teams, and also working alongside facilitators to ensure that the process moves smoothly. In terms of teams, there's teams of 3 to 5 talents who are mainly and almost only Unleash alumni, and who have participated in previous editions of Unleash around the world. There's facilitators that I've mentioned, who are people who have experience in innovation and design thinking, in experiential learning, and really helping teams to think through the challenges that they're facing and come up with the right ideas to address them. We'll hear from Leila in a few seconds, and the other facilitators will also introduce themselves and share a bit about how it's been. Communities, so we are, and both communities and experts, so we are connecting with people around the world to also make sure that we are getting the right insights into challenges and getting enough knowledge and more expertise to really frame these challenges in the right way and produce ideas on solid foundations. And just lastly, last slide I wanted to present is just to give a bit of context about where we are right now. And so this 2-day hack, as I mentioned, we're now at the end of day 1. The 4th time zone is now presenting, and it's essentially showing what they've done in terms of framing their problems, initiating that ideation session, and already coming up with potentially an idea that they think is worth taking forward. Teams are at different stages, and this is absolutely normal. Teams can take more or less time to go through each, and there's none which is specifically better in terms of process, but the idea at the end is to come up with the best possible solution. And so we're really excited to hear some of these ideas and how people have gone about framing their problems today. And now I'd like to pass it over to Rahim, so you can also introduce yourself and the OT, the organizing team, and then I'll let you host it and host the rest of the presentations from here. And just one last thing is congratulations to everyone for your hard work. I know it's been an intense day. I know there's been a lot, but I think it's really impressive to see. Well, I'm really excited to see what you've come up with, but I know also that you've done some amazing work. So congrats to everyone.
Thank you very much, Greg. Yeah, I'm also excited. So hello, everyone. My name is Rahim. I'm from Ghana. I'm a business development expert, actually working with an organization that basically supports young entrepreneurs in the country that are developing solutions to promote circular economy and waste management. So I'm basically leading the business development of all these entrepreneurs. I am super excited to have led a team of young people to actually organize this hack in our GMT or in our time zone. I wouldn't do much, so I would probably switch on to the next person in my team to actually also give us a bit of intro about himself, and then we can move on from team member to team member as well. So the next person is Emmanuel. Emmanuel, yeah.
Yeah, sorry. My name is Emmanuel Prekobwama. I'm also from Ghana. Talent for Unleashed 2019. I'm an entrepreneur with my own business called Gifted Solution. I deal in IT facilitations and business development facilitations as well. So basically, that's what I do. And I'm happy to be part. Yeah, I'm happy to be part of this amazing innovation. Actually, I've really enjoyed this whole hackathon program, and I wish we could continue to organize such a program for ourselves. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much, Emmanuel. So I'll move on to my next team member, who is Abdul Rahman.
My name is Abdurrahman Abdullah, also from Ghana. I'm the founder of Youth Initiative for Africa Development, focusing on youth empowerment programs with the less vulnerable and disabled people in our communities here. And I'm glad to be part of this whole program, looking forward to addressing this pandemic in our own way, because at the end of the day, I do pray that this thing shouldn't continue, because we are likely to be facing a global recession, which we shouldn't head towards, because at the end of the day, the effect is going to be more on the less developed country like ours here. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much, Abdul Rahman. The next person would be Nana.
Sorry, I thought I would be the last person actually. Okay, so I'm Nana Besi, an innovative solutions developer. I'm also an information systems analyst. I'm the director and project lead at Logic Tech, which is a software and solutions development company based in Ghana. Yes, I'm from Ghana, and I was part of Unleashed 2019. Yeah, and I'm happy to be a part of the team that made this all possible. And I wish you all the best.
All right, Andrew, if you can hear me, you're next. Andrew, if you're speaking, you're mute.
I think his video is frozen.
I think unfortunately we cannot get Andrew. I think the next would be some of our team members unfortunately are having internet challenges, so some of them also couldn't join this call as well. If you realize we have a largely Ghanaian population, I think it was because we from the Ghanaian alumni actually decided to come together and then organize this as part of some of the activities that we want to do. So that's why we have all of us almost in the same time zone, with the exception of just one of us. And she was actually also Ghanaian, but that's in a different country. So I would leave it to my esteemed lead facilitator, Leila, who's done a wonderful job today, to also take over and then introduce the team of facilitators as well.
Thanks, Raheem. So I'm Leila, as I've been introduced already. I work in strategy and innovation at Deloitte and have been involved with Unleash since it began in 2017. So I've been a lead facilitator 3 years, twice in the water track and then this last year in the health track. And it's been super inspiring to see everyone able to come together without us having to physically leave our own countries. And while it's been beset by technology issues at times, I think it's working, and I'm really excited to see what the ideas are that everyone's got to so far. So I'm going to pass over to Alia.
Hi everyone, my name is Alia. I am one of the facilitators from London. I was part of the inaugural Unleash program in 2017. Essentially, I'm currently working on a water purification system based in East African countries. I'm also working as a mentor for Consensus Blockchain for Social Impact Coalition. All day today, I've spent time with my team, and I've been super impressed with how we've been able to come up with a solution, thinking about the wider context. So super interested to see what everyone else came up with as well.
Great. Now over to Mona.
All right. Hi again, everyone. I'm Mona Itani from Beirut, Lebanon. I am an educator and a social entrepreneur myself. I had the privilege of being an Unleashed talent in 2019 in China. And although I have a wide experience in organizing and mentoring in hackathons, this was my first virtual hackathon. So definitely it was an experience to learn from. And I believe it's an eye-opener that we can definitely do this more often virtually. I'm excited to hear all your pitches.
Great.
All right, thank you very much, my lovely facilitators. So we're gonna
hello, Abdul Rahim.
Yeah.
Yeah, sorry, there are some people stuck in the in another group, and they're wishing to join the general group, please.
Is Greg here? I mean, do they have the link? Can we share the link with them? If you know where they are, can you share the link with them? We have a link on Slack that you can share with them.
Yeah, a link has been shared with them, but they have difficulty joining, saying that it needs some login details or stuff like that. Yeah.
I think. Is anybody from the Unleash Secretariat here to assist us in that? Greg or Verena? Yeah, whilst they are sorting out this, I would actually like us to move on with our presentations as well. So basically, each and every team has 3 minutes for the presentation. We currently have 4 teams. Earlier on, we were supposed to have 10 teams. But then due to the no turnout and no shows, we actually had to reduce the numbers, and then we actually had to move people to actually come up with just 4 teams. So we're currently working on 4 teams, and each team would have 3 minutes to present, and then they would have a Q&A as well from the team of experts here and the facilitators as well. My colleague Emmanuel would be our timekeeper, so he would be responsible for alerting us when our time is up when we're presenting. And then also keep in mind that you have 3 minutes. So I'll quickly start with the same order that we had. So in that order, so the first team to present would be the team number 1. So team 1 members, if you can have the person responsible for the slides to share your screen, and then you can have the presentation for us as well. So I can let, when you're ready, we can have Emmanuel start your time as well.
Oh, Rahim.
Okay, your team 1, your time starts now. If you're ready, are you ready?
Yeah. Yep.
Okay. Good.
I've been sitting here for hours waiting for my food to be delivered, but these companies are having low personnel turnout because of the lack of visibility of the spread of the virus COVID-19. Imagine my 70-year-old grandfather who has type 2 diabetes at risk for more health complications because of lack of inadequate resources, food and medical resources. This is the real challenge that we are facing as people of Bristol City in United Kingdom. We lack access to a safe channel of essential life aid support and services. But I think Sarah has a solution for us. So over to you, Sarah.
Fortunately, I do have a solution, and it's actually born out of the fact that we have an unprecedented opportunity now to leverage autonomous delivery to get the essential goods that people across the United Kingdom need to them in a low contact or no contact way. And what I mean by that is that in the streets currently, there's a very low volume of people moving around, which presents an opportunity for us to advance technology that already exists, meaning autonomous drones, autonomous vehicles, to facilitate the delivery of things like food and medicine to those that most need them. Fortunately, this technology, as I mentioned, already exists. We just need to scale it and to put in place a platform that connects 3 different sides of, or 3 different stakeholder groups in order to meet the need that we just mentioned, which is access to a safe channel for essentials. So how would ADA work? Essentially, you as a consumer would upload a grocery shopping list to a platform. The ADA platform would send your grocery list to relevant retailers who pick up your order if they have capacity. And then the retailer can choose to either deliver your order or to use an autonomous ADA delivery partner. You would then receive your contact-free grocery order right outside your door without endangering you or anyone else. And I'll just turn over for the targets and how we would take that to market. Okay. Anyway, I'll take the rest. So we think this is a good plan because it's something that we can act on now. That we can work with a partner organization called Westfield AV that already has a technology to do delivery. We can contact retailers in the UK who have the capacity to fulfill orders, meaning they have the inventory, but they don't actually have people to deliver it. And then we can market it to consumers who really need these things to be delivered. So essentially, that's our solution, ADA, the autonomous delivery aid.
Just to butt in, I was actually on mute. I was presenting, but I didn't realize I was on mute. So essentially, ADA seeks to aggregate the needs of people, as prioritizing vulnerable groups, especially the elderly, who need essential. And it matches that need with the ability of local suppliers to to meet them.
Thank you very much. I mean, obviously, you get to work on it more tomorrow as well.
Yeah, that's.
So thank you for that. We'll quickly take questions from the team here, the experts, facilitators. We'll quickly take questions. And if anybody wants to ask a question, I think maybe you might want to probably post it in the chat. That might make it more easier.
And Rahim, yep. I think with the time I'll be posting it in the chat, so the other group members could also watch that side for them.
All right. Any question?
Is it okay to ask at all verbally or just on?
So you can ask if no one is asking. I just didn't want it to get messy. So yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I'll just ask. This is Karina from London. I've been working on quite a few COVID response projects the last couple of days. And the biggest thing in the UK that keeps coming up is regulation. So I really applaud your insight and taking into account some of the broader challenges that are connected to this system around transport and mobility, and also the question around employment and meeting that gap. But what considerations have you taken on board for some of the existing challenges around regulation for autonomous vehicles? And how do you see potential scenarios of where we will still have low density for traffic over the next couple of months, but in a more medium to long-term view, that ridership will go up at some point. So we won't necessarily have that ease of travel. So just things to think about for your next phase. But very well done.
Can I answer the question? This is Ricardo, also from the group. And well, regarding the regulations, we still need to really think about that, but we are considering that now the streets are empty, right? So it's the best moment to roll out the autonomous vehicles, so they can gather data, and also we can use all this data both for the government and both for our customers. So now that there are no cars in the street, it's the best moment to roll this in.
To pilot it, essentially.
So for the regulations, we need to talk to the government, but we have a good opportunity.
A bit more clarity on what Ricardo is saying is we're also going to a partnership with an existing company that's got those regulations. So we're not trying to reinvent the wheel here. There is a company who's got that regulatory bit sorted and has activities in various parts of the UK. So we're going to partnership with them and starting out in delivering our services in markets where we're already in operation.
And in terms of in the long term, this is in the short term. In the long term, there is a thought of going into using blockchain and also using a kind of drone delivery system, especially in resource limiting settings like in Africa.
Can I add something? This is Shadi. I was the advisor for the team. Thank you very much for the question about the regulation. Spot on. But just to add to what the team have said, yes. So one we are targeting, and that's why the reason Bristol has been picked up, because the partner, which is Westfield's sports vehicle, are the producer and the operators for the pods across Bristol city center and Bristol remote areas. So they already have routes planned in place, so can help for the early stage. Now, as a spread out, that will happen. Again, the thinking of the platform from a regulation perspective is we are mitigating that risk from our end, and we are utilizing the operators who are already certified and they have been authorized to operate in those regions. So when we are talking about the drones, the idea was to collaborate with companies like Flock, for example, that provide drones insurance for logistic companies that drive drones or fly drones in cities like London for delivery purposes as well. Now that allow us to avoid being in that web of regulation for autonomous vehicle and autonomous delivery. You are outsourcing it to the operator, where it comes from a regulation perspective for us, where it's the crucial part comes toward the personal identifying information, people data. And that's where, as mentioned from the team, of the possibility of using blockchain, but also at the same time, we are not sharing the details of the people with everyone. So it's sharing based on needs. So, you know, the people who have a medical needs, we will get that information, but we will share that this order, you need to pay attention for gluten-free, and you need to pay attention for low sugar ingredients. But we're not telling who's the client for the retailer. So they don't know. It's a pure anonymous. And they don't know the exact address of the delivery.
All right. Thank you very much. I think we are running against time right now, so I'll have to move on to the next team. We have a lot of opportunity to ask more questions individually, or also if you have additional questions, you can just reach out to the team, make an input, just reach out to the team and then add it to it. And tomorrow we have another opportunity to also ask more questions as well. Thank you. I'll move on to the next team, which is team number 4. Team number 4, you can share your screen. The responsible person can start sharing the screen, and then alert me when you're ready, so I can you can start. Okay, are you ready?
Yes, I'm ready.
Okay, good. You can start.
Okay, yeah, this is the current situation in Kibera slum in Kenya. As you can see, you find lots of individuals, including kids, trying to line up to access water for hand washing. Ever since the government came out with campaigns on how hand washing is important in the fight against COVID-19, a lot of individuals have really come on board, like to really appreciate the idea of hand washing. But unfortunately, as we all know, overcrowding is one of the ways in which COVID-19 can easily be spread. So we came out with slum inhabitants need an alternative solution to hand washing in order to prevent the transmission of COVID-19, because the current water infrastructure is not, is inadequate. And this is not only in Kibera, Kenya, but it happens in most slums around developing countries. So we thought of a solution, and we came out with Mikono Safi, a solution called Mikono Safi, and our tagline is clean hands, good health. And with Mikono Safi, what we're focusing on is coming out with an alternative hand wash kit, like a small cardboard box, which contains a blend of essential oils that have been shown to have antiviral effects. And we could merge this together with a locally made alcohol, which when, if the locals are given good knowledge of how to increase the alcohol content to 65%, then it could be a good match to come up with alternative solutions to hand washing with soap. So we identified some values. The values to the users would include providing antiviral effects, but also the essential oils have various other effects like softening the hands, relaxing effects, and therefore users may get direct benefits and hopefully promote the use of the product. Then we also looked at, we won't use the oils alone, we would use the oils with alcohol, and the alcohol could easily be produced from byproducts like waste cassava, waste ugali, that is posho, like byproducts from different farms to come up with the alcohol. Then to the organizations, we looked at value to the government and aid foundations. Currently in the current situation, it is very vital to find solutions in improving the public health, especially in the area of COVID-19. Then another value is many brands will begin to partner and advertise as it is seen as an aspiration product, and therefore there will be high rates of.
I'm up.
Okay. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Questions? Guys, there's the, okay, so Olga.
Hi, can everyone hear me?
Yeah.
Great. Thanks for the presentation. The only question I have, I'm not aware of any studies showing evidence of efficiency of these essential oils against any coronaviruses, not just COVID. Do you know anything about it? I'm a little bit skeptical because in general, essential oils are not very efficient.
Yeah, during the hack, we tried to do a little bit of research and came across some papers that clearly stipulated that the essential oils are being used in certain strains of coronavirus. Yeah, but not this particular one.
In general, alcohol, isopropanol or ethanol rubs are just fine. And there is a very recent study showing that as low as 30% can be efficient. So you may not want to go, out of the box when you have the solutions that are readily available. So I really suggest pay a little bit more attention to just existing alcohol solutions, because they're also very easy to produce locally from raw materials. That's it.
Thank you.
Okay, guys.
Yeah. I think one of the things that can give that idea a novelty is to know whether the solutions, if at all they would work, can be long-lasting. That is, they can protect the hands from coronavirus for as long as 24 hours without having to use them frequently or to wash them. Is that element captured in the idea in any way?
Yeah, it was actually captured in the idea, because one of the members said that it won't be nice if you just have to use the essential oils once, then after a few minutes you again have to use it. So we're like, maybe we could have a solution whereby it can work maybe for like 12 hours before a person applies more essential oils for the rest of the day.
Awesome. Thank you very much, team. Like I said earlier, any additional questions you can just ask the teams in the Slack channel. We move on to the next team, which is Team 6. Yeah, so Team 6, if you guys are ready, you can share your screen. Team 6.
Sorry, I'm here. I'm just trying to share my screen. Just give me 2 seconds. Okay, can you see my screen?
I can see. I don't know if the rest can see.
Good.
I can see.
Yeah, we have it.
Okay, great. So I can start. Oh, hello.
So I would say if you're not presenting, you might want to mute so that we can hear those presenting very well. Bethany, are you ready?
Yes, I'm ready.
Okay, you start.
Okay, so our problem is we're looking at SDG 4, quality education. So we drilled down that our specific problem we're looking at is school closures in the Gambia have resulted in reduced access to quality quality education, particularly for those students with no access to technology, delivery platforms, or electricity. So they're our primary user. As far as we were aware, in the context that there are, in terms of people that can access technology, there are already WhatsApp groups and things happening. So we really want to focus on the students that don't have access to these types of delivery platforms. So our mission is for these students to be able to continue the mood of learning, so that they can, so that when schools reopen, they can continue they can continue with the curriculum when the crisis is over. And the idea is to, as I said, to continue their learning, to keep them actively engaged with their learning, so that it's a smoother transition when they return to school. So when thinking about that, because we're thinking about students that don't have any access to any resources at the moment, and that it's quite difficult, how can we get them learning materials quickly and easily, and relatively cheaply? And we thought really we had to return to the idea of paper. So that's just a piece of paper to accentuate that. You can see I didn't have much time. So thinking about our solution is how can we get them some paper-based activities quickly? So we sort of came up with an online platform where teachers can upload really basic activities that are contextual, they can be done in the classroom, so they can be done in the home and require minimal resources. And that we, as our group, Educate Access, we can download those activities, print them off and distribute them using the normal delivery systems still currently working to get them to those students. Now, the incentives for teachers is that we'll obviously credit them with this work, and the incentives for students to do the learning is that they will be really actively engaging. So here's an example of one that will look like really engaging, easy to do, and they can just be done in the home. And again, the idea is that it is done quickly, and it's just to keep them actively engaged in their learning. So that's where we got to with our group. Did I finish in time? Sorry.
Thank you very much. That is great.
Finish in time.
So now we will allow for questions.
Oh, sorry.
Any question?
I can start. Oh gosh.
Hello?
Yes, I have a question. This is Ifya.
Okay, yeah, Ifya.
Okay, so I wanted to ask, I didn't see anything. I want to ask how you intend to fund and maintain this platform and process.
That's a great question. If anyone has any ideas where they would like, if anywhere we can access, I do know there are a lot of funds being donated to the COVID crisis. So we didn't quite get to that point of being able to look at if we can, if we can access something like that. I think in terms of prototyping an online platform, I think that could be done relatively straightforward if it's kept really simple. I think more of the challenge we have is how we would distribute. So how we would pay for like printing and distributing the activities.
Yeah.
Okay. So Karina?
Yeah, no, I want to pick up on your point about the distribution part, because I think for how you've articulated the problem, it's super clear. You're addressing a huge challenge around access to quality education during this period and then in the transition back, of which we don't know. So I thought that was really well done, really well articulated. But I guess for me, the clarity around the innovation itself will be in the distribution channels. So on one hand, there's a question about the paper-based approach being the core solution. But I think there's probably more around the distribution supply chain piece where that will be your innovation piece. I don't know if that's true, but I'm just curious in terms of maintaining the quality education part. In that channel would be really interesting to see in the next iteration.
Thanks, that's really helpful. And And I think you're right. I think that's sort of where we're at if we were to continue going forward.
Right. Last one from Matthias.
Thank you. I'm Matthias from Burkina Faso. My question is also about the distribution part of it. So in currently there are a lot of restrictions and it is difficult to actually have contacts with people and things like that. How do you in search environment plan to reach out to people using, because you said you use the traditional channels to distribute the product. So how do you do that?
Well, that was where kind of the point where we got to before we sort of had to come back together. We sort of discussed two ways that actually managing a collection point system. So so we've got some type of collection point, and like some people are taking those resources out on just like how delivery is kind of working now. Obviously it is scaled back, as we know. But yeah, sort of managing some type of delivery collection point system. And the other thing is we also did talk about drones and things like that, if we could sort of really identify exactly where these students were. But obviously drones, you know, so we've got there a very low tech idea, but obviously that's still got the problem of contact, potentially problem of contact, and the very high tech solution, which is very extensive, of drones. So yeah, that's kind of where we got.
Okay.
Okay, let me add something to what Matthias is saying. Matthias, are you getting me?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, I'm a member of the group. So in terms of delivery aspect, we actually looking at building partnership, because we don't know everywhere, and we count on people who are closer to our target groups.
Exactly.
So we cannot do everything. So we will build relationships or partnership with people in those regions, as we are able to carry on a supply chain. So from one region to another region, we'll be able to meet our desired target.
Sure.
Exactly. And to add on that is because I already have, you know, I'm working using GIS. So I already have the data of the number of schools in the Gambia, and the fastest, you know, the nearest points to each of these schools where they can have access of, you know, these picking points of where they can pick up their whatsoever educational material.
Okay.
Yeah.
Great.
Okay. All right. Thank you very much, team. We will move on to the next and the last team to present from Team 10. So Team 6, you can mute, and Team 10, whoever is responsible for screen sharing should start sharing their screen, and then let me know when you're ready so we can start.
Ooh.
Okay.
Mm.
Okay, are you ready? Yeah, you can start.
I think her mic is mute.
Who is that? Who's on mute?
Sorry.
Good.
There you go. I'm unmuted now.
Okay. You can start.
Okay. So the perfect storm: an overcrowded situation, a lack of adequate sanitation, and everyday limited medical care. What is the impact of the coronavirus on those who are already vulnerable, on the refugees and the displaced populations? Today, our problem framing is around the internally displaced refugees of Burkina Faso. And the reason we're going to speak about these populations is that these people cannot apply the typical public health advice of social distancing because of the high level of social interactions and the crowded situations that they already live in. And although Africa has been the last to be hit, or is being the last to be hit by the coronavirus, it does not mean it is exempt. But can a lockdown of people in Africa create more harm than the virus itself? Our target group is internally displaced people in Burkina Faso who have mobile phones. and are middle-aged or youth. We spoke about multiple solutions. We didn't exactly reach a perfect solution, but the solution that I'll pitch to you is called CoTrace 19. This is a solution that could use contact tracing, digital contact tracing, through simple Bluetooth technology that uses limited personal information. Using only a phone number, a user would have to switch on their Bluetooth and their interactions would be recorded with other people in the camp that they interact with. The government or the health ministries would then be able to notify other users if they have come in contact with somebody who has been affected by the coronavirus. Since not everybody has contact to mobile phones or smartphones in the camps, we would be nominating a chief or a focal person for each group of people that would be going out to do the shopping and run other errands for a certain group of people. And this person essentially would have the app on their phone to make it feasible for others to use. It would use limited personal information, and it would allow the government to warn potential future patients to monitor their health and then quarantine if necessary. So as to not limit all social interactions, which is not very possible in the densely populated slums. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much, team. Questions, please.
Hi, I have a question.
Okay, who's speaking?
Hi, this is Elizabeth, based in London.
Okay.
Okay, so my question is, you mentioned you would have groups, and then you would sort of tell if someone has been in contact with someone who has coronavirus. How would you be able to tell that if they've been in contact with someone who has coronavirus? I think you're.
Oh, sorry, I'm unmuted now. I'm telling you the app is not, it's already being used in Singapore. So what the Singaporean government is doing is people need to download the phone on their app and switch on the Bluetooth and enter their phone number. And then if somebody has been goes to hospital and they're diagnosed by medical professionals that they have the virus, then the app would notify these people. It wouldn't notify them that X person, they wouldn't disclose your information, but it would tell them you have been in contact with somebody that has been infected and then quarantine yourself. So it wouldn't disclose their information, but it would disclose that they have been in contact with somebody that has the virus. So both people need to have the app on their phone for it to work, or both people need to have like the Bluetooth on.
Just to follow up to that, I don't know how it's currently working in Singapore, but would there be any concerns on data privacy, like you said, on sharing?
I would say no. It's like a less invasive app. There are apps, I believe, in like North Korea that are more invasive. They disclose like the age of the person, the gender of the person, and when you interacted with them, so you would be really able to easily tell and perhaps discriminate against the person. But this app uses very limited personal information. It only uses the phone number. So let's say if you were in contact with I can hear somebody else speaking, but it would only disclose that you have been in contact with a person that has the virus. It wouldn't tell you anything else. Just quarantine yourself for 14 days. You have been exposed to somebody who has the virus or who has symptoms. That's it.
Okay, so I'll take two questions from the experts. I have Prince Yali.
Can you unmute my team as well? So if somebody wants to say something.
Yeah, well,
So Prince, you can ask a question.
Yes, so I want to know with regards to the connectivity, Africa and internet connectivity. So is it a way whereby the app can because you are using Bluetooth to just get contact. Is it a way that the Ministry of Health can get out to work if I have if let's say I come into contact with someone with a virus or something and I get a notification, that means I will need to subscribe to throughout that period. So I was just thinking of a way whereby people can still use the app, but then limit the use of internet. Without internet also, can Bluetooth just do the work for us? And then also the other question, the other question has to do with the data privacy issue that Elizabeth also raised. So I was also thinking that can there not be a way whereby if let's say I go to the facility and I'm detected that I have coronavirus, I just need to input something on the app so that anyone I come into contact will get a signal that this individual has a virus. I'm not sure the app can directly detect the virus. I don't know. I just wanted to be clear on that bit. Thank you.
Okay. So Lucky.
Hello.
Yeah.
Yes, my question is around the distribution. How do you plan to what distribution channels are you thinking of? And the second question is, what is the role of the mobile operators in your business model?
I'm not 100% sure about what you mean by distribution models, but two assumptions. Assuming that some people in the community might already have smartphones, since these are not, it's not a war zone, it's a safe zone, they're just internally displaced. So assuming these people already have smartphones, they would be able to download the app. If not, then the Bluetooth equipped mobile phones would only be given to the chiefs or the people that are going out to run errands on behalf of the community to minimize costs as well as to maximize coverage. The role of the mobile phones would be to just maintain confidentiality of their own users without declaring any other information that may reduce and like them being anonymous, the users.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. Yeah. Thank you very much, Team 10. I think you've all done great today. I'll thank you all for putting in such a great work. I mean, we've spent. It's not been easy. I wouldn't say it's been easy. It's not been easy. I mean, going through this, people dropping off and coming on. I mean, it's not been easy. But you guys were able to pull through. I mean, to get us something that is really great. So I'm just gonna maybe take us through what is going to happen tomorrow as well, and we can. So tomorrow we're basically going through the prototyping phase as well, and then we're going to prototype and try to test it with our community as well. One of the key things that we are looking at tomorrow is to at least have all of you here present tomorrow as well, which would be super great for us. But nonetheless, if for some serious or for some reasons you are unable to join us tomorrow, one of the key things that we want each team to look at is actually to identify more or less like someone who is 100% assured of being here tomorrow, or two people who are 100% sure of being here tomorrow, so they can be more or less like the idea champions or the idea leaders to take the ideas forward. One other thing that I want you guys to also look at is that I shared the link with you to actually indicate whether you would be available to attend tomorrow's hack as well. It is actually in the Excel sheet that you all have access to, the Excel sheet for the participants grouping. So there's a column for you to indicate whether you would be available for tomorrow or not. This would help the team and then the facilitators to also properly plan before tomorrow morning, so we don't have the mess up we did this morning. I think that is basically one of the few things, or the basic thing I would want to mention. Leila, is there anything you want to add?
I guess it's worth reminding everyone that this is a live stream, so I wonder if we all do our hand washing action to wave goodbye to each other before we go?
Hello? Hello?
Yeah, let's
Hello?
do it.
Hello?
Can
you hear me?
I want to video it.
I've got a question, if you don't mind.
Greg has a question.
Yeah, it's Matthias. I actually have a question. How do we know as a team those who will be here with us tomorrow?
If
And
you
how do we join them? Yeah.
if you check on the Excel sheet, once we've got everyone marked as yes, then you'll be able to see.
Okay, so yeah, this is something we have access to. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
I just share the Excel sheet with you again, so you can just indicate. Are we doing the hand washing thing?
Sure.
Do it.
You missed it, Raheem.
I know. Let's do it again, but with like, you know, movements.
Wash your hand.
Ollie has
I'm
got
already missing the Chinese Tai Chi, you know.
This is like the water team coming back again.
Yeah, water team coming back, Karina.
For an entire minute.
I know. I think I'm not doing it long enough by the judging of everything.
Oh,
gotta do it in swing. Oh, nice.
I just
everyone.
want to say thank you for everyone for spending their Saturday doing this. Hopefully we will see more of you tomorrow.
Yeah.
And we will take these ideas to the next level.
Very exciting.
Yeah,
Congrats,
and
everyone.
one last thing, if you allow me.
Sorry, one more thing.
There were people who were not able to join this group. I can see here there are a lot of our team members who were not able to be here. So how do we make sure they also have the Excel file and are able to actually be there tomorrow?
Are they on the Slack group, Matthias?
Okay.
Yeah, and make sure.
Yes.
That's awesome. Thanks, Idris.
Thanks, guys. Thank you so much.
Thanks, everyone.
Good luck.
Well done for the great day, work.
Bye.
Bye.
It's a wrap.